Sky Squad, we are back in the building, and I just gotta ask y'all a question. Why do all roads always seem to lead back to Rich Dollars on Love and Hip Hop? It just never seems to fail. Like Rich Dollars is always somehow, some way at the center of some chaos. We'll talk about that in just 1 second when we recap the episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, season 12, episode 14, called Dystopia. But before we get into that, we got to discuss the health scare that landed Todd Tucker in the hospital while he and Candy were in town in New York for the Broadway premiere of Sunset Boulevard. All right. So apparently we saw some flicks of Candy on the red carpet, in New York, but Candy lets us know that the night did not end too well. According to Candy, the night started beautifully, but ended pretty rough. Just a little scare. He's okay. Thought he was having a heart attack or a stroke, but he was not. We went to the hospital because it's better to be safe than sorry. He is okay. And shout out to the Jasmine brand / House of Aaron for this story. You can head over to Candy's Instagram page to see all of the snaps from their visit to Broadway to view Sunset Boulevard. Candy and Todd are very active in the, I would say, musical theater community. And so it's no surprise that they would be there, but we do send our thoughts and prayers out to Todd for a speedy recovery. We talk about reality TV stars on the channel all the time, but, we always still hope and pray for the best for their health and well-being. So it's glad to know, we're glad to know that he's doing okay. Now, let's get into the episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. I'm trying, okay, so if I had to give this episode, if I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I rate Love and Hip Hop. A lot of times, I feel like sometimes Love and Hip Hop can't always be bothered to give us full story. So what they do is they go for what they know, which is entertainment value, right? They know what is going to get us worked up, and they deliver on that promise. Story arc, full stories, be doggone, okay? I mean, as long as they are entertaining us, that is all they seem to be concerned with, and I am here for it. So with that being said, I'm going to give this episode a 9 point. I'm going to give it a 9.9. I can't really complain about it too much because, again, I'm entertained. So it is what it is. And Rich Dollars is back down to the Atlanta, no less. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, come on. You got Love and Hip Hop OGs. I guess, can you call them an OG, even though they weren't around for the first season? I guess so, because Rich, I feel like, has been a staple in the franchise, mostly New York, but just in general, he's kind of like Safari before there was a Safari. You know what I'm saying? A Ray J before there was a Ray J on this particular show. That's just my thoughts. Y'all can chime down in the chatterization. Let me know if you agree or not. The episode description reads this: Kirk finds his way out of the doghouse and tries to put a muzzle on Jasmine's rumors. Yandy puts Mendices in the hot seat to see if his commitment to his vow still ring true. All right, so let's discuss the episode. We got a ton to discuss in this particular episode, so we're going to get all the way into the biz not eat. All right. First things first, we see Sierra having a conversation with Spice. Basically, she's still upset with Spice. And I got to shout out to my girl, Tanya, Pretty Plates, baby. I see you making I don't know if this is the first time she's been featured, but if you don't follow Pretty Plates on Instagram, social media, make sure you guys do so, because Pretty Plates cooks down, okay? So big shout out to her for getting that feature with Sierra and Spice seated in the Pretty Plates establishment, baby. I got to shout her out, okay? If you are in ATL or if you decide to go, make sure you guys put in a visit to Pretty Plates, all right? Now, basically, Sierra is upset with Spice because Spice allowed Amy Luciani to perform her diss track for the Cast album. Is it really an album or is it really a song? or is it really just a cipher? Like, I don't really know what this concept is supposed to be, because it doesn't seem like any type of album that I've ever heard of, and I've seen neither heads nor tails of any promo for said album on social media. But here we are nonetheless. Ciara wants to be on the album, so she ends up letting Spice hear the track. And in my eyes, knowing what I know in the future, is that, Spice, you've allowed Shekinah to be on the album. Why wouldn't you allow Ciara to be on the album? I mean, I'm sure somebody wrote Shekinah's rap just like Chaotic wrote Ciara's. Okay. So however you want to slice it and dice it, girl, just go ahead and put it on the album at this point. Because if you didn't got Shekinah on there, you can put Ciara on there. All right. Ciara works just as hard on this show as Shekinah does, if not more. Okay. All right. So that is settled. Now we need to settle something else. Kirk and Rashida are at home. Okay. And Kirk, I guess, is back in the house. And Rashida is still upset about the whole situation. She want to see his text messages. You know, the ones he deleted whenever he got upset with Jasmine, but the ones that Jasmine still has on her phone, allegedly. Let me put the alleged badge up here because we're going to get into some things. My thing is this. Okay, fine. Rashida's logic for accepting Kirk back into the home and basically clearing the slate with him is that they've been married for a long time and they've built a life together. They've been married, what, 20 something years maybe? And so I do understand that, right? I do understand that. But I think what I don't necessarily understand is that it just seemed like you just swept everything under the rug. And I think what should be probably stated by Rashida is just that maybe you just don't even care what he does. And I think that the audience would be more likely to just say, oh, okay, that's their marriage. He could do what he want to do. And so we're good, right? I think if that were stated, we would all have a easier time with this whole situation. But the fact that he has just been able to kind of gloss over the fact that he's deleted the proof from his phone that would prove Jasmine's story to not be true is basically, it seems like Rashida's just simply saying, okay, I accept whatever you did or said, and we're just going to move on. That's pretty much how it works. And they pretty much move on. It is what it is. Let me say this. I do agree with several things that Rashida said. You know, if you've been married for that long, you are likely to go through some things. And you have to make a determination of whether or not the things that you go through are really going to be relationship ending or not. Are they deal breakers? If they're not necessarily deal breakers, then I totally understand it. Because when you sign up to be married, a lot of times you're not only signing up. Marriage is not only about love and happiness, but it's also about, you know, commitment. It's a business arrangement. It's so many things that go into mixing your life and intertwining your life with someone's. It probably is easier just to keep them than it is to get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? They got so much going on together. They're probably better holistically together than they are apart. But, you know, it again, to me, as far as story goes, it seems like just simply say, I'm okay, you know, if he slip up here and there, because I might got somebody too. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's kind of like we're forced to kind of like look at this situation like, oh, well, she just forgave him and got over it. No, girl, just tell us the truth. Whatever your truth is. Okay. I still like you regardless. Put it on to make him want to marry me. Speaking of, well, a lot's going on in this episode as they're preparing for this big, I guess they're calling it a showcase, a cipher, or whatever it is. And, you know, Yandy is in charge of helping Spice manage this whole situation. So it's the day of the Ponderosa, right? The cipher. And we see, you know, everybody's there to get their rehearsal in. Bambi is rehearsing with a squadron of dancers. And, you know, Bambi, I like Bambi. I really do. I think Bambi has some great one-liners. I think she's funny. She understands reality TV and she always delivers. But girl, if you're gonna have that squad of dancers on stage behind you, I'm gonna need you to be dancing right on in sync with them. I'm gonna need you to boom cack your way down to the on stage, and I'm gonna need you to throw down like you deserve to have those dancers. There is no point in having 18 backup dancers if you yourself are not gonna be really shaking a tail feather. If you're gonna be phoning in the movements, you know what I'm saying? 1, 2, the 8 count like this. Hold the mic, and dot, boom, cack, boom, cack. I'm gonna need you to dive into the routine, baby. I'm gonna need you to leave it all on the floor. But all this, this little shake, 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 boom, cack, you could have just got on the stage by yourself, to be honest with you. Anyway, Chaotic shows up, and really, Bambi wants to know, what's the tea with you and Scrappy? Because I heard y'all got some beef. Chaotic, like, I don't know. I told him we was taking his name off the YouTube page because he ain't had no time for it. And I thought the things were fine. So it's already kind of being seen like it's being like the seeds of discontent are being placed into Chaotic's mind because he's hearing all of these things, but not being told these things by Scrappy. So they probably needed to have a Ponderosa, like a serious sit down like Ponderosa before this event happened, because it is later going to bubble to the surface. All right. So the next thing that we see is Ashley having a conversation with Lil Zane, and Ashley is really kind of on some get back, but I can't say that I blame her because she, it seems, has had to deal with a couple of not only misconceptions about Zane and, this child and his baby mama, but it sounds like there was some downright deceit that was going all along with it as well. So Ashley does something else. Ashley says, you know what? I'm going to take my child out of our home and I'm going to send him to his baby's father's house for the school year because I don't know what's going to happen between me and you. Now, I think that she did that because she knew it would hurt Lil Zane, but I also think that as the mom, I mean, he ain't the dad. Maybe he's looked at as the father figure or one of them, but I definitely feel like she did it on some get back. But I can't say that I blame her, especially if she don't know where their situation is going to leave them. And so if they have to break up and move out, she would rather her child be in some place solid, safe, and secure versus an unstable home that she don't know if she's going to be in or out of. So it is what it is at this point. All right, so let's discuss Yandy getting Mendices this ring. So they're at the venue, right? And of course, the jeweler has to come in with a box of rocks, okay? A box of rocks. And Yandy's like, bam, you lost your engagement ring. Boom, I got you another one, okay? Take your pick. And there's a lot of other bling here too. Watches, all kinds of shiny baubles, bits and bobs, and all kinds of things are in this box, the box of rocks. So I'm like, girl, you look, in my mind, yeah, I not like Yandy too. Don't get me wrong. This is everything that I say in my videos. It is nothing personal. It is really about the story that's playing out on the show. So do not take offense, y'all, when I talk about y'all, because it's really just my critique of what I see on the show. Now, having said that, girl, why are you doing this? First of all, he don't want to be wearing this ring. So why would you make somebody wear something that they clearly don't want to wear? That's number one. Number two, if they really don't want to be wearing it, why would you buy him another one? He is the one who lost the ring. At the end of the day, it's him. So, and he says it in his confessional, she's more interested in the way things look to the outside world. So really, you buying him this ring is only honestly feeding your ego, but it's not necessarily doing anything different for him because he don't want to be wearing the ring. And if he did, he would have already taken it upon himself to get a new one, right? So at this point in time, you are just feeding your own ego by getting him some bling bling, thinking it is going to entice him into wanting to wear a ring because it's some bling, but really he don't want to be wearing a ring because he don't want to be wearing the ring with you. Like, that's really it. Now, granted, again, if he had just lost the ring and hadn't gotten around to getting a new one, that would be one thing. But he don't want to be wearing the ring, even though y'all are allegedly working on your marriage. I don't know what's wrong with it in the first place. To be quite honest with you and frank, it ain't really been nothing that I've really understood since we started this season. All except for what Jasmine is putting out there. That's all. I mean, that's all. And what Zell had confirmed is out there as well. But I ain't really seen Yandy talking about those specific rumors. So I'm kind of like, what's really the tea with y'all marriage? Because I don't get it. All right. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, i.e., back at the Ponderosa, Erica Banks, busted of busted fame. She is at the Cypher to perform as well. She's going to be kicking things off, right? Now, Erica has invited Jasmine and Erica Racine. That's her name, right? Erica Racine. Is that her name? I gotta look. Hold on. Yeah, it's Erica Racine. Okay, so that's it. So she's invited Jasmine and Erica Racine and some other young lady to the event. Kirk and Rashida go stop in to visit Erica Banks, and then Jasmine and Erica show up, at which point Rashida quickly exits stage left. Now, I don't know if this is just me or y'all, but to me, if I feel like this woman is saying that my husband is trying to get with her behind closed doors, then I feel like I might want to be there to manage their interactions, period. But Rashida runs off like, this ain't my problem. So that's also what leads me to believe, like, you got to be okay with all of this. Like, it does. Otherwise, why would you leave? Anyway, she leaves. And so Kirk basically is trying to smooth things over. But Kirk in this scene, to me, is very revealing of himself, because Kirk is basically admitting that he did not really see Jasmine come to the door naked. He says, I shouldn't have said it. That was my bad. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said something that wasn't true. And I'm like, okay. And so then he's like, okay, so then I also give you the amount that you wanted for, I guess, child support or whatever. And she's like, okay. So then they're like, no need for lawyers. At which point she's like, all right, cool, perfect. All right, well, let's go. That's it. So at that point, he's like, well, I expected, in his confession, he's like, I expected her to then also take back what she said about me in the text messages. The problem with that, Kirk, is that she has text messages from you that allegedly prove otherwise. So those text messages have been flashed throughout the season and shown to a various amount of people. So you then tell her, okay, well, I took back what I said about you. Can you take back what you said about me? And it's like, she's like, no, because it happened. In which he's like, see, I thought we had a deal. I guess you didn't think that far ahead. Maybe you should have called her ahead of time and told her and rehearsed the scene, because what you say you want and what she is saying happened is not matching up. Okay, friend. So now you look doubly crazy, and I don't think it's really going to matter anyway, because Jasmine already told us that Rashida was going to jump in the grave with Kirk. So I'm just thinking to myself, Kirk, you are crazy. You had one ace in your pocket, and that one ace in your pocket was that you alleged that she was showing up to the door naked. That makes her seem equally as guilty, but you now took that back. Okay, so now you have absolutely nothing. You have no ammunition, and now you have made yourself into a liar. Okay, period. So whether you was lying before, now you've told us that you made it up. You've confessed, and now you wanted her to do the same confession, but for her, she's like, I'm not taking it back. Even though she had gotten what she apparently wanted in terms of the amount, I guess, for the child support, which he should probably be doing anyway, because I guess she could have took him to court. But at the end of the day, it's like you. Oh, Kirk. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say about you. Other than Jasmine got you again. And it seems like you just keep doing this to yourself. And I cannot, in my mind, Rashida should be looking at you with a side eye. Because not only are you failing to protect her on this show, but now it looks crazier to me now that you have tried to tell her to take back something that you feel like she should take back because you don't want it out there about you, but she's telling us, I'm not taking it back. She's telling us, she's telling you, I'm not taking it back. Why would she take it back now when she's already shown people these text messages? The text messages are literally her smoking gun, and you have no ammunition. You have nothing now. But I'm sure we'll be all past this by the time the cast goes to London next season, because it'll be time for some new stories. Anyway, everybody gets on stage to perform their part of the cipher, which is essentially they're all performing to the same beat. I don't understand this idea, because that does not make for a cast album unless this is just a teaser of what's to come. But I'm like, all these producers down in Atlanta, and y'all couldn't get clearance to just at least get everybody their own solo track. It makes no sense to me. And it sounds crazy. Like a cipher is like, yeah, it could be a cute thing, but y'all don't need to do all of these rehearsals and things like that for a cipher. Like, not like this, in my opinion. But that's just me. And I come from the old school days of rap. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is something new school, newfangled for the TikTok folks. Anyway, the last person to go is Sierra. And Sierra performs her diss cipher, basically dragging Amy and Scrappy. Really, it's less Scrappy to me, and it's more about the women surrounding Scrappy, i.e. Amy. But, you know, Amy is like, it wasn't all that good or whatever like that. And, you know, at that point, you hear Shekinah on stage saying, yeah, she said that she was, you know, bumping and grinding with Scrappy. And Sierra's like, say that again. Mind you, it's an auditorium full of people, okay? Full of people, full of folks. And, you know, Sierra's like, can you come say that again in the mic? So, you know, Shekinah goes and says it. And everybody's like, oh, it's really happening. And I'm like, so then Scrappy jumps to the front of the stage, and he's like incensed, like, why is everybody talking about me? Why is everybody talking about me? And Bambi tells him it was just a joke. It's rap. It's beef. Like, you just happen to be collateral damage in the beef. Because really ain't nobody saying that much about him as much as, I guess, the bodies he's collecting along the way. So I didn't even understand why he was reacting in that way. Like, they were like literally dragging him for filth unless I missed something. No, they're just dragging the people that you're sleeping with. So he takes it personally. And then when Bambi tells him, yo, it's just a joke, Chaotic helped Sierra write her rap, he then is upset with Chaotic. Now, I told you there's been this simmering tension between the two. And at that point, Scrappy is like, yo, let me go holler at him. And he bum rushes over to basically what looks like grab at Chaotic. And Chaotic is like reacting like, no, hold on now, because guess what? If you see somebody charging at you in a situation that's already hyped and heated up, it's going to feel like something that person is attacking you. And what's crazy to me is that then Scrappy tries to make it seem like, oh, I was just going to have a conversation with him. I was just reaching over to talk to him. And everybody around him is like, bro, no, you weren't. That's not what you were doing. That's not what you were doing. For some reason, Spice is hollering Chaotic's name like he's the one who started this. And I'm like, yo, you should be screaming about Scrappy. So at that point, you know, the security breaks up everybody. They take Chaotic off to one side. They take away Scrappy, who is trying to tell the world, convince the world that he only wanted to have a little conversation, a polite conversation. That's not how you do it, sir. And Chaotic is like, you had 10 hours to talk to me, but you ain't say nothing up. You ain't had no smoke for me at all. To be fair, the smoke wouldn't have really materialized, I guess, until Bambi told him it was Chaotic that helped him write the tracks, dissing Amy, and kind of bringing up Scrappy in the middle of it, because he is in the middle of it. So my thought is, if you don't want people talking about you like that, then stop engaging with Amy. I mean, because she's telling everybody. So if you don't want your business out there, then stop messing around with somebody that's going to tell everybody, period. So the next thing you know, we see Yandy and Mendices, I guess, leaving the venue because they've already calmed Spice down, who was thinking about not putting out the album because of the chaos and the drama, and she had to shut the whole show down. And I'm like, okay, girl, we know you're not going to cancel this cast album, so cut it out. So at that point, Yandy and Mendices are headed out, and Kirk comes sauntering through with Jasmine, and Jasmine's like, ooh, it's the Frost cult. It's the Frost cult. And it sounds like I don't know. It felt to me like Rich was kind of inciting a little bit of the drama, because he's like, oh, pretty much saying something like, Jasmine. And Jasmine's like, yeah, don't I look familiar to you? And Mendices is like, no. And she's like, oh, well, you've been to my strip club. And he's like, yeah, I'm there for the drinks, not the girls. And she's like, you would say that. If I was you, I would say that too. And he's like, listen, what level of conversation did we have? Well, she said, I never said we had conversation. It's like, well, girl, then what are you saying? Get to the point, because all of this rigmarole is not really what you're there for. If you really are here to confront Kirk about this girl that he's allegedly sleeping with, okay, y'all, Erica's friend, then let her say it. Apparently, Erica did try to say something, but Kirk was like, no, not Kirk. Mendices was like, we're done. Because then you see, because I think that had to be edited or something like that, because then you see Erica say, well, I wasn't done. Then you see them outside. They cut to being outside, and there you see Rich yet again trying to convince Yandy and Mendices to have a conversation with Erica and Jasmine. Now, the group kind of gets split up in this awkward way. And you see Erica basically yelling at Mendices that, oh, yeah, you've been cheating with my girl, with my homegirl, or something like that. Yandy then rolls up in Erica's face right here and is basically like, leave my husband's name out your mouth. And Erica's like, well, what are you going to do about it? And in my mind, I'm thinking that too. Like, I'm like, what are you going to do? Because to be honest with you, by the time you roll up in somebody's face like that, you probably need to be prepared to pop off or get popped. And again, we don't really try to advocate for any type of, ill-mannered behavior on this channel, but I'm just letting you know that when you are in the streets, if you roll up on somebody like that, you either need to be prepared to pop or get popped. One or the other. Thankfully, security is there to pull them all apart so that nobody gets the popperization, which at this point in time would probably, well, I don't know. I was about to say would probably result in the dismissal from the show, but who knows at this point. So security gets involved, and it's a whole big, melee or whatever like that. And nobody puts paws on each other. Rich has to basically escort Jasmine and Erica Racine off to the next hot spot or whatever like that. And, Yandy is just so happy that, yes, Mendices had my back. When my back was against the wall, he was right there for me. That proves to me that we are meant to be, and he is mine. You might have had him once, but I got him all the time. Okay, whatever the case may be. So Jasmine believes that Yandy reacted that way because the rumors must be true. I think that Yandy probably reacted that way more or less because there's this woman that she does not know who is popping off on her man. But I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. What we do know is that Love and Hip Hop Miami will be back in November. Did I see? I think I saw Black China on there. I saw Ray J and Princess. I saw, I mean, it was enough to make me think, let me maybe catch an episode or two of this. You know, I don't know. Do y'all watch Love and Hip Hop Miami? Let me know in the chatterization down below. I think November the 18th is when it comes on. And then Love and Hip Hop Atlanta will be back in, I think, 2025 is what they said. So I guess we'll follow up with this whole London tour situation. So let me know what y'all thought about this episode in the chatterization down below. Like, were you excited about how things ended? What did you think about the whole Kirk and Rashida situation, the Kirk and Jasmine situation, Yandy and Mendices and Erica Racine? I want to know what y'all thought about it. Are y'all still just as confused about this cast album as I am? Because it still does not make a lick of sense to me in terms of how an album is actually made. I'm interested to see where this all goes. And I'm interested to see if we're going to follow up with any of these storylines or we're going to just be moving on to something new. So with that being said, make sure you guys keep it locked on the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell button. Smack that like button. And I will catch you in the next video.